Jesus enters Jerusalem riding on a donkey, while a crowd lays down palm branches in his path and shouts words of welcome, recognizing him as the king they had awaited for generations. Days later, Jesus gathers with his 12 disciples to celebrate the Passover meal. It is a meal that, unknown to most of them yet, will be the last they share together. During the meal, Jesus announces that one of those present will betray him that very night. The disciples look at each other in confusion, with no idea who could be capable of such a thing. After the meal, Judas secretly meets with the religious leaders and agrees to hand Jesus over to them in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. That night, Jesus withdraws to pray in an olive grove called Gethsemane, while his exhausted disciples struggle to stay awake near him. Judas arrives at the garden accompanied by armed soldiers and identifies Jesus with a kiss. Within minutes, Jesus is arrested in front of his own disciples. While Jesus is being questioned, Peter waits outside, where several people recognize him as one of his followers. Out of fear, Peter denies it 3 times before the rooster crows. As soon as Peter hears the rooster crow, he remembers Jesus' words about that very night. He walks away alone, weeping deeply over what he has just done. Jesus is brought before the high priest and the religious council, where he is accused of blasphemy. Despite the lack of real evidence, they decide to hand him over to the Roman authorities. Jesus is brought before Pilate, the Roman governor, who finds no real crime in him. However, pressured by the crowd, he looks for a way to avoid making a direct decision. Pilate offers the crowd the choice to release Jesus or a known criminal. Pressured by the religious leaders, the crowd shouts that they would rather free the criminal. Before the final sentence, Roman soldiers mock Jesus, placing a crown of thorns on him and beating him, while he remains silent before all the cruelty. Jesus is forced to carry his own cross through the streets of Jerusalem, weakened by the blows he received, while a crowd watches him walk toward the outskirts of the city. On a hill outside the city, Jesus is crucified alongside 2 criminals. The crowd that followed him is divided between those who weep and those who still mock him. At the foot of the cross, Mary Magdalene and a handful of faithful followers remain, not abandoning Jesus even in his darkest moment. As evening falls, Jesus breathes his last. At that very instant, the sky darkens completely and the earth trembles, as if nature itself recognized what had just happened. A secret follower of Jesus asks Pilate for the body and places it in a stone tomb carved into rock, sealing it with a massive round stone. Fearing his followers might attempt something, the authorities post Roman soldiers to guard the tomb for as long as necessary. On the 3rd day, at dawn, Mary Magdalene and other women walk toward the tomb to anoint the body, with no idea of what they are about to find. Upon arriving, they find the massive stone rolled away and the tomb completely empty. Jesus' body is no longer there, and no one can quite explain what has happened. Inside the empty tomb, an angel announces to the women that Jesus has risen, exactly as he had said would happen days before. While weeping near the tomb, Mary Magdalene sees a man she believes is a gardener, until she recognizes his voice. It is Jesus himself, alive, before her. Later, Jesus appears to his gathered disciples, showing them the wounds on his hands to dispel any doubt that he is truly alive. In a private encounter by the sea, Jesus asks Peter 3 times if he loves him, restoring with each answer the trust Peter lost the night of his denial. Days later, in the presence of his disciples, Jesus is lifted up into the sky, leaving a clear mission, that they continue sharing what they have experienced with the whole world. The passion and resurrection of Jesus stand as the center of all Christian faith, the proof that neither betrayal, nor suffering, nor death itself have the final word. There is a promise of life that goes far beyond what human eyes can see.